Hello everyone. So today we are going to look at some PKO final table ranges, and we're gonna look at this spot that you can see on the screen. This was a $5 PKO on PokerStars with around 500 runners. You can see the payouts in the top left. And let's go over the stacks quickly. UTG is the chip leader with almost 80 big blinds. I was the hijack in this spot and I had ace-8 offsuit and I jammed, and we're gonna see if it was good or not. So yeah, cut off big stack, bottom big stack, small blind has 24, and the big blind is a short stack as well with pretty big bounty compared to the payouts, which you can see that pay jumps are pretty insignificant between 6th and 5th or 4th and 5th, and the real big pay jump is between 3rd and 2nd. That's almost $8, and that's why PKOs are so top heavy, because the big money is basically in the first two places. Before we look at some ranges, we're gonna take a look at the bubble factors first. So here are the bubble factors. As you can see, very low bubble factors versus the short stacks, and negative risk premiums because of the bounties, obviously, compared to the stack sizes. So versus UTG, the other big stacks have a pretty biggish bubble factor. They don't want to bust, obviously, versus the short stacks, and they want to have the ability to bust the short stacks to get the bounties and obviously get top 2 at least, because that's where the big money is. So yeah, basically everyone is, when someone opens, they're gonna call the short stacks. That's what's gonna happen with the range, and that's why you're gonna see some really wide ranges. So let's start with UTG. So this is UTG's opening range, 73%. Opening basically almost any suited hand, any suited offsuit 6x down to queen 4 off, king deuce off is opening. So when he opens this range, he's obviously going to call the short stacks. So let's see what's happening when he opens. So this is hijack. This is really tight, even though hijack has 4.5 big blinds. Not rejamming ace-7 suited or queen jack suited or pocket sixes, ace-9 off. So really tight, even though, you know, it's a KO. Like when he rejams, UTG is calling range, as you can see. Like even if he opens 6 deuce off, it's a super profitable call, even versus that tight range. Let's see, yeah. Okay, so when cutoff opens, when cutoff flats, button squeezing this range, pre-polarized, knotted hands, some suited ace-x, offsuit ace-x, the offsuited Broadway hands, and that's pretty tight. So let's see what small blind is gonna do versus cutoff flat. He's gonna have introduced jumps because he has 25 big blinds. The bluff squeeze is gonna come from the ace-3 suited, ace-2 suited part of his range, some offsuited ace-x here, but really strong range overall. And so cutoff flat, big blind is gonna squeeze jam kind of wideish, right? He's still gonna flat really wide and squeeze jam really wide, obviously because of the loose ranges. And when that happens, let's see, UTG is jamming absolutely everything under the sun. So he has the ability to like not all in raise here to 18 big blinds, but he's not really using that with many hands. It's basically these hands are profitable jams as well. So let's look at the jamming EVs. Yeah, like super profitable jams. And that's why the cutoff was flatting only and not 3-betting, because UTG is jamming when the big blind is squeeze jamming this super wide range, 10-6 suited, 9-7 suited, everything under the sun basically. And yeah, cutoff is uncapped, so he can call with this range. Basically, let's see. Yeah, these are like minus EV calls, but basically 7s plus, ace-9 suited, king jack suited plus, king queen off is I wouldn't call, so yeah, ace-10 off as well. Okay, bottom is gonna have basically the same range, almost as cutoff, only flooding. Again, for obvious reasons as the cutoff, because when big blind is squeeze jamming, again UT is jamming a really wide range, and same shit is gonna happen. Basically, this is the same range. Yeah, 6 is getting included here. Ace 9 off gets included. King Queen off is now plus EV, and Ace 8 suited as well is in now. So let's see small blind response versus the UTG open. Okay, so small blind is gonna have some jumps now. Let's look at the EVs. And these offsuit ace-jacks are pretty decent EV. The pairs obviously, and he's gonna jump. He's gonna flat relatively wide as well. And as you can see, flatting the big pairs. Jacks plus is always flatting. Again, that's because big blind is gonna squeeze jam wide. And when that happens, look at this. UTG is jamming almost range, almost his entire opening range. This is 66% of hands just jamming. This is pretty sick. And small blind should call again, like any ace X he flatted, any pair he flatted. Every Broadway down to King 7 suited, King 9 off is flooding as well. So anything that's half decent is flooding here versus the big blind squeeze jam and UTG jam. So when everyone folds the big blind, let's see. It's 3-bet jamming versus the 70% range, like relative. King 7 off is jamming here. In chaos, you will see these basically symmetrical ranges when the short stacks are rejamming. As you can see, King 7 here, King 7, Ace Deuce, Ace Deuce, Queen 10, Queen 10. That's what you're gonna see in almost every scenario in these spots. So okay, so let's see when UTG opens and hijack rejams, right? 4.5 million, what's gonna happen? So this is cut off. He again has the ability to not all in jam to like 17 big blinds. He's gonna use the sizing with aces, kings, and some of his bottom combos like ace 3 and aces suited. But he's still jamming like really wide here. And he suited Broadway, King Queen off, Ace 10 off, Ace 8 suited plus Ace 5 suited, and I mean 3s is pretty low EV, but still pocket force plus. So this is really wide. Let's see. Okay, so versus that jam, bottom is like folding Ace Queen off. Small blind is folding Ace Queen as well. Because big blind covers the hijack, he's priced in with so many hands for the bounty. You can see is like Queen 5 suited is fist pump call, 10-7 suited is a call, 7-8 suited, any Broadway, any King Deuce suited, these low suited connector hands. This is pretty sick. And let's see how UTG responds. So he's gonna basically 6s plus, Ace 10 suited plus, Ace Jack off. He's folding King Queen suited as well. Okay, let's see how button reacts. Even wider than cutoff. And again, I'm gonna assume big blind is calling again super wide, yeah. And big blind, I mean UTG had to widen a bit. Now he's calling 5s, Ace 9 suited and Ace 10 off, and King Queen suited as well. Okay, let's go. Let's see if my Ace 8 offsuit jam was good. And nope, it wasn't. Even Ace 9 off is borderline. Basically the good jams are Ace 8 suited plus, 7s plus, King 10 suited plus, and King Queen off. So that was a pretty bad jam probably. I mean, but I don't think this is going to happen versus the jam. So cutoff should flat here, Queen 8 off. 6-7 suited, yeah, that might happen. 9-5 suited, Queen Deuce suited. This is going to happen, but these bottom combos are probably not going to happen, and he's supposed to jam super fucking wide with like almost 50 big blinds. Is it going to happen? Probably not. And when he's jamming, let's see how the other players react. Yeah, button range is really tight. And I'm gonna assume big blind range is gonna be super fucking wide as well. Yeah, like almost the same as before. Only folding these really trash suited combos, and like the bottom 40% is folding basically only. So let's see, but yeah, this is the button, by the way. I mean, this is really sick. So button covers everyone behind, right? Small blind has 25 big blinds, and big blind has like 6. So he's a profitable jam here with any suited hand, any offsuited 5x, any queen x offsuit plus. I mean, I wouldn't have expected this wide of a range, to be honest. And obviously when the cutoff and bottom folds, small blind and big blind is on any 2 cards. This is pretty sick. So let's see when a small blind jumps any 2, how wide is the big blind calling? Now he's folding a bit more of these combos, the deuce x suited and the 3x suited hands. Still like 35% folding only. Okay. So let's see, so this is the cutoff range. Again, really tight, 64%. I'm gonna assume bottom won't have a 3-betting range. Yeah, this is basically pure flat. So let's see when bottom flats. Again, small blind is gonna jam and squeeze a lot using these offsuited ace-x combos, ace suited. And again, big blind, symmetrical, squeeze jamming range. And let's see how cutoff is jamming. Again, he's not really using this non-all-in 4-bet size, just jamming. There are some flatting going on here. He wants to flat these big pairs, an ace-king suited apparently, and the bottom of his range. So what is going to happen when he flats? I'm guessing button is still jamming. Yeah, button is still rejamming any ace-x basically and any pair he flatted. So that's why there are some traps here, but that's not going to happen in real life. I don't think so. So you can just 3-bet to size or just jam if you want to. So let's see. Again, small blind, 3-jam range is similar versus the UTG guy. Offsuited ace-x, small pairs. And again, the big blind rejam range is pretty symmetrical. Any ace-x almost, pairs, and apparently king 8 plus. So let's see the button open. I mean, this is basically any 2 versus population, probably because small blind, I guess I'm gonna assume is gonna rejam really aggressively here. Not that aggressively that I assumed. So small blind is rejamming actually less than versus UTG and cutoff, even though this is an almost any 2 range. Huh. But it's flatting wider. So I'm gonna assume that's because the big blind is squeeze jamming really wide. I mean, it's not that wide. This is still king 8 plus, 5 plus, ace x, queen 10. And again, button is just almost anything he opens, like he's folding these really trash combos and some of these bottom combos. Still wants to fly ace king and I mean aces and kings. I don't know why this jack 10 and jack 9 suited flat 10 9 is happening. Probably some, I don't know. So when he's jamming, small one is calling again really wide. Any ace-x, any pair, any Broadway, any 9x suited down to, let's see the EVs, yeah, king 6 suited, king 8 off plus. Okay, so yeah, basically almost no folding. But is it going to happen when you open? Small blind is gonna do this? Probably not, right? He's probably gonna 3-bet some of these hands. He's gonna jam more of the pairs, like pocket tens is going to jam, I'm gonna assume pocket jacks is gonna jam, queens is jamming, kings three betting, jamming this, and I don't think population is flooding this way, so we probably can open, to be honest, any two here. So, and I'm gonna assume small blind is on any two, yeah, okay. Small blind is on any two if it follows to him. Like everything is even 70 off is super plosive probably, yeah. More than 10% of aces. So, okay, so I guess we learned a few things here. So when the bounties are relatively big compared to the pay jumps, and you know, PKOs are super top heavy, you just gotta hound these small stacks with their biggish bounties. And when there's a short stack on the big blind, you want a flat range, basically, almost every time. When you are a big stack versus another big stack, and just super wide jamming ranges. Basically, when the short stacks jam, even when someone with like 50 big blind is flattening behind. As you saw, let's go over quickly again. So again, cutoff flats, big blind is squeeze jamming, and this is UTG. So just jamming everything, especially if cutoff doesn't know that, you know, he's supposed to flatten range, and he's gonna start three-betting aces, kings, queens, ace, king, jacks, maybe, and some bluffs. His range is gonna be even weaker, so you can is probably gonna jam even wider than this, to be honest. So yeah, that was it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.